this by far is my favorite question. Why not build versus buy? Why don't I just put an LLM on top of our data and call it a day? I would say 99% of tools that you see are basically like LLM wrappers. So it is just like embeddings or vector search on top of a corpus of data. And there's some improvements you can make from a UX UI perspective, but like fundamentally, like you're going to get the same response. You're going to get the same answer. And there are even tools that just say like, hey, just pipe in the data and then we'll just do the vector search and embeddings on top of it. So what I'm showing you right here is Signals. And what Signals does is it takes your company context and it runs through all of your data. So it's not just your call data, it's your customer support tickets, it's your sales calls, it's your emails, it's your Slack messages, it's all the data that gets generated inside of your company, gets imported into BuildBetter. It automatically gets triaged and filtered. So, you're not going to get internal data clustered with external data. And because it has context and it can kind of filter through that, you're also going to get things like personas that get automatically extracted. And it can even sync with your CRM to make sure, okay, what is the customer value? Who is that customer? And of course, you can filter by companies, even people at your company or customers, emotional response, impact, and even filter by specific keywords or tags. So that's like thing number one. So even if you give it the raw data, you still have to clean up that data, right? You have to merge the data together. How do I know which transcript is from customers versus team members, which insight is about our feature versus a competitor's feature, which question is about our product versus the weather. So you do have to clean up this data. So thing number one that you have to do is you have to get all this data. So you have to build the integration pipelines for these data, and then clean it all up and turn it into a new kind of data set. And that data set we call at BuildBetter is Signals. And we use really like the most expensive way of doing it, which is we go through all of your data and we automatically extract over 15 different types of things, from improvements to complaints to feature requests to bugs, issues, inquiries, compliments. Ad Adam, it just keeps going. And we then do additional extractions on top of that. So we know who your customers are. We have context about your customers because we can integrate into your CRM. We also know who your team members are. So we separate that data so that you don't have to worry about an insight being mislabeled from a customer or a team member. And these sound small, but these turn into like data just being unusable because you're like, what's the best compliment from a customer? And it's like, John really loved the sandwiches at lunch today. And you're like, that has nothing to do with our product or company or anything related to anything we're doing. So that context, that quality really starts to matter a lot. And then, of course, we start analyzing things through different models, not just LLMs, but like custom models for things like sentiment, severity, and we even look for things like bias. We obviously can automatically categorize things as customers or team members or partners or whatever filter criteria that you want on those people. And then, of course, you can filter by those people, filter by those companies, because we can integrate into those tools. So you're not just getting one place of like just call transcripts. Now you're getting customer support tickets. Now you're getting sales calls. Now you're able to filter by specific representatives at your team and seeing how well they're doing. And you're also able to chart and graph that into like really concise things. So let's go through that. So we're going to look, I personally like positive stuff. It's the New Year's. Let's focus on the good stuff. And we're going to kind of filter by, we can filter by a tag or a folder or sentiment, but let's filter by like very, very, very positive stuff. Let's kind of do more of, more positive. And then obviously I don't want myself. I just want a customer's stuff. And let's go over the last 30 days. And we can filter by a specific emotional response. So maybe they're just like really, really, really satisfied or shocked or relieved or something like that. But instead of now getting a response, so if you were to just do LLM embeddings, you would just get like, here's generally what the customer said. It would be really low quality. You don't have the exact moment on that call that you can go back to and verify. Models hallucinate all the time. So making sure that it's actually accurate is a really hard problem, particularly with embeddings. Because the way that if you add a layer, as you're calling it, add a layer on top of your data with LLMs, you use embeddings or use vector databases. That's like the quintessential. The problem with that, it has no context. It doesn't know who team members are. It doesn't know all this stuff. But it also means that when you get a quote about a specific specific thing, like a compliment, it doesn't actually know if that was a compliment or not, because it has to come within the context of what it was talking about. Was this talking about a feature? Was this a compliment about an issue or whatever it might be? So when I hit play, so I now hear straight from the horse's mouth within seconds of filtering, and I can even go straight to that segment on the transcript. I can listen to it. I can even pop this out and look at all the other things related to it. So this was very positive. It's fairly important. I mean, it is something we're working on right now, and there is very little bias. So, maybe there is some kind of leading question to it, but I can go filter that and go find it myself and listen to it. I can also organize this. So instead of now adding, example, if you just had transcripts, you'd have to then find each segment of each transcript, copy and paste that out or do something with it. Instead, we handle all of that. So you can just add these segments of transcripts with the videos attached to a specific folder, and then you could go generate a document from that folder. So if I wanted to do a PRD or something like that, I can go say, okay, here's all the feedback around the specific feature, and I can go generate it. And again, everything gets linked back. So you have full access to summaries and transcripts and citations. So because we're hosting all this data, you can click on this and literally be locked back straight to that segment on the transcript on the call without having to review another transcript or whatever it might be and create this kind of I don't even know how you would do that in a company, but I guess you could, I don't know, you can create a pseudo BuildBetter API dashboard that will link you back to it. I don't know. It sounds like a lot of work. But on top of all of that, all this is accessible to your team. You can organize these things into folders. You can chat with folders as well. So if I went to a specific thing, okay, here's all the feedback around documents, I could then ask a question to all that feedback in one place. It's automatically done for me. And you can even create workflows. So for example, I have a workflow where every week I wanted to go through all the extractions that are labeled like competitive discovery, ideas, issues, questions, and I wanted to summarize that, and then I wanted to send it over to a Slack message. Or maybe I want action items at the end of the day, or maybe I want all the customer issues that came up from onboarding or sales calls just for that day, and I wanted to send that over to Slack. We also have things like reports where we'll automatically generate things like momentum reports and other things on top of that data. All of this, I mean, there's tons of things that we do, from internal call recording to looking at momentum from your team, decisions, blockers over periods of times. We have really incredible call summaries, really incredible searching, really great chat that you can ask questions over everything. But it's not just like a packaged solution. It's not just saying, okay, well, can't you just add chat on top of transcripts? Can't you just add chat on top of video files? Can't you just add these little LLM stuff? There's 90% of what you see here are actually proprietary models. So we actually built our own kind of foundational models to help and assist with these tasks, because it's really hard to do these with LLMs. I mean, you can go to chat and ask a question about one transcript, but the second you start adding 5, 10, 15 transcripts, all of a sudden it starts losing information. It doesn't know what you're talking about, doesn't have the context. You can't merge this. You can't create a dashboard out of it. You can't share it with anyone. And you start having this really difficult time to actually make this data valuable. And you're back to square one of just going through a single call or just giving up on the entire process itself. So one of the best things I can say is, even if you look at all this and you're like, I could build this in a week. I have the best engineers you can imagine. And even though you guys have been building on this for 4 years, I think that this could be replicated super easy. We're a usage-based product. So you're only paying a small delta on top of what you would have to pay yourself. And we don't take like a big profit off of it. So we're really just, it's like a managed solution that not only solves these problems, not only does it really well, but you're not paying per seat. You're not just paying for the service to exist. You're only paying for what you ingest and what you use. So even if you could, in theory, build this, the infrastructure costs, pulling an engineer, pulling a team, pulling someone else to go build these things yourself, it's going to cost you like 10 times more than, probably like a few years of BuildBetter. But not only will the quality be lower, the outcomes, the output, the deliverables, the expected value, but you're not really going to save any money as well. Everything in BuildBetter is also HIPAA compliant, GDPR compliant. Getting that compliant with these tools as well, especially if you're touching customer data, you will have to go and figure out that compliance with these LLMs themselves, because they don't come out of the box HIPAA compliant. So there's a lot of work that you kind of have to do as well to make sure that if you're going to be sending this data to LLMs, that you're also compliant with those as well. This is definitely like the thing that breaks us out, the reason why we're the best tool in our space, and the reason why last year we had a single customer churn over the hundreds and thousands of customers that we have, just because their company went out of business. That's really the only reason why a customer churns from BuildBetter, because we're focused on the value, we're focused on the deliverables, the outcome, we're focused on giving you the output, because we're a usage-based product, because we're built for product teams, and because we understand the things that you care about and the things that you want, and we know that if we don't deliver on that, you're just not going to use the product, and we don't make money if you don't use the product. So our incentives are aligned with yours, and are happy to kind of run through a lot of case studies and use cases, but that's like the main reason that we often have people buy instead of build. Talk to you soon. Bye.